Mr. President, you said something or did something that we find highly offensive and therefore disagree with. How do you respond? Madam Vice President, Donald Trump did something or said something that we find highly offensive and disagree. You heard his response. What's your opinion? And that was how the debate happened.
Let's get ready to rumble! You can't handle the truth.
I'm Pastor Marty. Welcome to the Afternoon Drive. Make sure that you are a subscriber to the channel. Once you are, smack the bell, click the word all. That will give you notification of my rants, my ravings, and, yes, my undeniably flawless reasonings. Please like and share this video. That's the way that we get the word out that we're here. Thank you so much for being a part of the Afternoon Drive. If you saw the debate, we all saw the same thing. It was 3 against 1. That can't be argued with. They fact-checked Donald Trump in real time 8 times in the first 30 minutes. And they were wrong, and I'll get to that in a moment. They fact-checked Kamala 0 times. 0 times. That would be 0 with a Z. 0 times. And yet, she lied easily, without hesitation or reservation. She had an air and a confidence about her. She went into a pre-scripted interview and didn't have that level of confidence. Do not tell me that she was not well aware and well assured ahead of time that this is going to be okay. I mean, after all, the head of ABC television introduced Kamala to her current husband. You know, no potential for bias or quid pro quo there. You know, of course not. No. This is all completely up and up. But while a lot of commentators on the conservative side are going to simply continually regurgitate the honest truth that it was a 3 against 1 fight, the truth is Donald Trump didn't have his A game last night. Now, he just didn't. There were opportunities for him to answer questions that he really could have landed some real punches on Kamala. Let me give you an example. You knew they were going to come after Trump on abortion. It's in Kamala's wheelhouse. That is one of those things. She really doesn't need a teleprompter. She's been giving the same old position and speech on that literally now for decades. And it's the one area that she connects with women on, this idea that I'm going to protect you. I'm going to protect your rights. They asked Donald Trump. He says, no, I'm not for a national ban on abortion. What I am for is getting it back in the hands of the states and letting the people decide. Not the government, the people. And they kept coming at him different angles, trying to ask the same question, and he factually stated his position. Here's where Kamala beat him. She starts going into these stories, all of which are fictitious, about, a woman bleeding out in her car after suffering a miscarriage, and she and her husband crying because they can't get medical help because it's against the law in their state to get medical help. And even though she's bleeding out, she's got to carry this dead baby inside her to term. Donald Trump should have immediately said, what state did that happen in? Boom. Because what it would have done is it would have knocked Kamala back on her heels a little bit, because she would have been challenged to these heart-wrenching stories you're telling us about this happened to this woman and this happened to this woman. You have a name? You're telling their story, and obviously this is an issue that's very important to them, and it would help the American people to be able to put a face with the story, a name with the story. Kamala, could you please tell us this person's name so that all of America can stand with this person? And then, because he played defense all night, this is where he could have then, after he did that, flipped it and gone on offense and say, since you're so interested in protecting the rights of women, What about the women who have been molested and raped by the illegals that you and Joe Biden let in here? Boom. What about the women that have been murdered by the very people that you wrote in a book that America is open, and how dare Donald Trump build a wall? It's his vanity project telling people to stay out. We don't want you to stay out. Come on in. You and your policy allowed those killers and those rapists in, and who are they targeting? Women. Explain that to the women of America. Boom. That's playing offense. And Donald Trump did not do enough of that last night. In my defense of Donald Trump, I will say this. Sometimes when you are getting rope-a-doped, when literally you're being blindsided from every direction, I will say this. He did as well as could be expected, 3 against 1. He did as well as could be expected, 3 against 1. Kamala came out last night. She had her stuff memorized. Now, in the second half of the debate, he did manage to get her on the ropes a little bit. And of course, ABC jumped in to save her. They were fact-checking Donald Trump in real time. Mr. Trump, there are no states that allow abortion, execution, after the child has been born. Wrong. It's happened at least 5 times in the state of Minnesota under Mr. Walz's watch, where babies have been left to die that survived an abortion. It happened in states like Illinois when Barack Obama was a senator there, because it was Barack Obama back then, back before he became president. He had sponsored a piece of legislation which would have made it, and did make it, illegal for medical professionals to administer life-saving techniques on an infant that survived an abortion. He wanted that to be against the law, because if the baby survived the abortion and the medical professionals did what the Hippocratic Oath absolutely mandates that they do no harm, that they are to step in and immediately give life-saving procedures to that infant, that would be thwarting the will of the mother. That was the words of then Senator Barack Obama. He tried to bring it with him to the United States Congress when he got elected senator, and it was so wild and so radical. Ted Kennedy, yes, liberal Democrat from Massachusetts, Ted Kennedy killed it. Said that is way over the top. See, the Democratic position on abortion used to be safe, legal, rare. Safe, legal, rare. That used to be their stated position. And now, she almost tripped up when she's, wanting to give these stories because she's trying to connect with women. See, again, Donald Trump prevented facts. Kamala, she did this well. She gave feelings. And Donald Trump should have known that from The Apprentice. I was a big fan of The Apprentice. And I distinctly remember there was one episode where it was the guys versus the girls on the marketing of a brand new car from Pontiac. And the guys put together this brochure which explained everything about the car, the horsepower, the turn radius, etc. And they were all high-fiving each other as they're putting this thing together, because they knew stuff about cars that women just didn't know. The women, on the other hand, designed a booklet that was round, and the cover of it looked like the steering wheel of the car. And when you opened it up, it showed a picture of the beautiful leather interior, and it said, "Leather so soft you can get lost in it." And you just did lots of things like that. And they absolutely blew the guys out of the water. And I remember when the guys lost that task, and of course, then one, has to, be voted off the island and fired by the Don. The guys leave, and it was Ivanka who was sitting next to her dad as one of the judges said, "See, the guys explained it. The women felt it. And people connect with the feeling." Boom. Donald, take a lesson from Ivanka. Take a lesson from contestants on The Apprentice. People want to feel something. And I'm sorry, Kamala did a good job on the abortion issue of letting people connect with her. And again, what is her big unfavorability? What is the thing that drives her numbers down? Is that people don't like her. She's like a rebirth of Hillary Clinton. People don't like her. That, articulate, can state something, but people don't like her. And she almost tripped up, though, as she's telling one of these stories, about women needing abortion. She almost tripped up and started to tell a story where you could tell where it was going it was just simply, this girl is young and trying to have fun and not wanting to be boat anchored to a baby. And Kamala, I'll give her credit, she extemporaneously, she got in her mind, oh, this is not going to end well. And she pivoted and somehow she changed the story. It was kind of awkward. But she let people feel something. Mr. Trump, you should have let people feel something. You should spin that back on her, and you should have said, what about the parents of, and fill in the blank of a woman or a person who's been killed by illegals? Say, don't tell me you're for women's rights. Don't lie to the American people and say you're for women's rights. Boom. But again, sometimes it's hard to do that, and Trump did take the bait a couple of times on stupid stuff, arguing over the size of the crowds at the rallies. Now, I did think he handled pretty well the question about, why are you injecting race into this? And he's basically like, I didn't. I don't care whether she's black or Hispanic or she can be whatever she wants to be. I simply asked a question based on the fact that, she ran for the United States Senate as an Asian Indian woman. And now she wants to call herself a black woman. By the way, that got some of the biggest responses on Twitter, not from Republicans, or I should say, white people, but from black people who said, Donald Trump didn't raise the issue. We raised the issue. And I've heard multiple black commentators online and black people in general in focus groups when they are asked this question about, do you think Kamala Harris is African American? And they all 9-1 say, just because she went to Howard University doesn't make her black. She may have the black skin color, but she doesn't have our culture. Boom. See, the thing is, Donald Trump sometimes, he is your typical CEO, and a good CEO sees the big picture. And he's able to cast that big vision. We need to do X, build this building, Steve Jobs, and invent this piece of technology. But most creative, big vision guys like that are a little light on the details on how to actually do it. That's why they surround themselves with great teams of people who really like to get down into the nitty-gritty minutia of, how everything works and puts together. And he puts together teams to create the vision. His job is to come up with a big idea that inspires everybody, that gets a team rolling on how to make the idea happen, and then to go out and present his big idea to the people who could throw money into it to actually make it happen. That's a Donald Trump. He's a big idea guy. And he gets the big idea of what's going on, but he doesn't present well the smaller, fine details. Because when he got fact-checked over, there are no states where a child is aborted after it's been born. This is where he needed some fine detail. Well, it's happened 5 times in the state of Minnesota under Governor Walz. In fact, Kamala Harris, when she was in the Senate, was the tie-breaking vote on a bill that basically stated if a child survived an abortion, that child should be given life-saving procedures. She was the deciding nay vote, which killed it. Now, if this had been 10 years ago, I'd be not worried, but a bit concerned. I would. I know that the flash polling from this is going to project Kamala as the winner. she went into really friendly territory. Again, she didn't get pressed on nothing. And she was able to say things, and she went completely unfact checked. Donald Trump fact checked her, but it didn't come from the moderators, therefore to the, stupid people that are watching. And yes, there were stupid people watching, and casual voters, and, people with Trump derangement syndrome watching. When they heard the commentators go after Trump, aha, knew he was a liar, even though he was telling the truth. There are states that allow this. Yet when she brought up the whole Charlottesville thing, that even a liberal, flaming left website like Snopes has debunked it. The comment that they keep taking out of context, Donald Trump has said, if he loses the election, there will be a bloodbath. No, he was talking to auto workers and auto worker union members, basically saying, listen, if you think it's bad now, if the Biden-Harris administration gets 4 more years and they really ratchet up the Green New Deal, they are going to kill the gasoline vehicle in this country, and we are going to have an economic bloodbath like you've never seen. That was the comment. Economic bloodbath. And there were times that Trump appeared edgy and defensive. I would too. You're 3 against 1. I did think he hit back, when she's going on and on about how divisive he is. And he turned to her and said, you keep calling me the threat to democracy. You people are the threat to the democracy. You're the ones that weaponized the DOJ to come after me over nothing. And because of that, I took a bullet to the head. Boom! That was offense. That was a good punch. And of course, the ABC moderators jumped in and quickly steered that conversation in a different direction. And sometimes President Trump is like that dog squirrel. They dangle something else over here. Instead of staying on this point here, he gets boom. As I said, 10 years ago, I'd be a bit concerned. Here's why I'm not. Even though we know that the flash polling will probably give this to Kamala, and we know that for the next 48 hours to a week, the media is just going to absolutely just, what a wonderful job she did. They've given that something else now that they can jump off of and gaslight. Now, Team Kamala says they want another debate. They really don't. They're going to go back into hiding, and they're going to try to ride this wave into the election now. She did it. She handled her interview. She handled the debate. She can handle Donald Trump. Therefore, she can handle Vlad Putin and the world leaders. She got this, baby. She knows how to make it work. Donald Trump should have just kept on a simple thing, as he should have pivoted everything back to, are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? Is it easier today to buy groceries than it was 4 years ago? Is it easier on your pocketbook to buy gas? Can you go out and get a car? Can you go out and buy a house? And so when she starts in on, I got this idea to fix this, and I got that idea, quick comebacks would have been, yeah, that came out on your website yesterday. You've been running for 2 months, and that came out on your website yesterday. And then you can always use the Barack Obama line. Hey, you guys that broke it don't get to tell us how to fix it. You and Joe broke this. He did get her on the ropes, and she was visibly upset when she said, I am not Joe Biden. And he pounced and he got her on that. He also got her on, I'm talking now. Does that sound familiar? I mean, he banged her on the Mike Pence thing. So he did get some shots in. And again, had this been 10 years ago, but it's not 10 years ago. It's now. And this thing is going to get dissected now. And most people, even if they watched it last night, they're going to watch clips of this online today and throughout the week and throughout the rest of the election cycle. And they're going to start seeing her comments fact-checked and put into a microscope of scrutiny. And I really think this. I think Megyn Kelly is 100% right on this, even in real time. The side-by-sides of, Donald Trump standing there and answering, or just standing there, and these looks from Kamala. Doing, yeah. These swarmy, smug. There's a word that I want to call her, and as a Christian, as a pastor, I can't. I mean, just Megyn believes that will not play with the American people. That even women who want to support Kamala are going to look at that like, ooh, girl, don't do that. Don't do that. Now, the rabid Kamala women, and they're out there, they're going to be like, yeah, you get her, girl. You get her. You be the boss lady. This has to be looked at over time as people observe, rewatch, and it sinks in. Ultimately, here's my takeaway, and I have to agree with Eric Boylan on this. It's the fourth quarter. The other team was getting pummeled. They switched out quarterbacks. She scored a couple of quick touchdowns, and everybody's like, but it's still the fourth quarter. And Patrick Mahomes, i.e. Donald Trump, has the ball. And you never bet against Patrick Mahomes in the fourth quarter when he's got the ball. I think Eric Bolling is absolutely right on that. And I think over the next 48 to 72 hours, as the clips of the debate get replayed and people watch and listen to the commentary on it, they're going to come away with the same takeaway. Kamala lied, didn't get fact-checked. Donald Trump, the things that they called him out, said he was lying about, he was actually, boom, spot on. And I think Megyn Kelly is right on this point, that a lot of people watching last night understood very quickly this is a 3-against-1 fight and it's not fair. Even among the independents. You know, I was watching some liberals online last night. You know, they were live streaming and live reacting to the debate. And when you have liberal commentators who are not Donald Trump fans by any stretch saying this is rigged. This is he really has gone into hostile waters here. And again, this is where the Republicans need to take a page from the Democrats. Kamala absolutely refused to do a debate on Fox News. Why? She can't control any of the moderators there. Donald Trump was kind of in a no-win situation. If he had ducked this debate, he would have looked like the coward. So it'll be interesting to see going forward. But I'll tell you this. As this sinks in, resonates, ferments over the next 48 to 72 hours, this isn't going to hurt Donald Trump. If anything, it will catapult him.